And welcome to this virtual info session on September 4th. I'm Kayla. I'm on the marketing team at Code Platoon, and I'm with Danny, who is co-leading this with me. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick, Danny?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Daniel Marcano. You can call me Danny. I am the recruitment manager here at Code Platoon. I will be your guide between you showing any interest within Code Platoon and the day that you start class. So if you ever have any questions, if you ever want to set up a call, more than happy to chat through our program with you and answer anything that comes to mind.
Thank you. So before we get started with some of your questions, we've got some really exciting news to share with everyone, which is that we've officially launched our brand new version of Intro to Coding. It's something that I've really been enjoying as someone who didn't code before this. I think I've made it up to loops now, and it's been super fun. But backing up just a little, Intro to Coding is a free self-paced course designed for beginners who want to explore coding without any pressure. Again, free on your own time. Do it at your leisure. We teach Python in Intro to Coding, which is one of the most popular and in-demand programming languages, and it'll really help with getting hands-on experience from really the very first couple of lessons. You get in there, code hello world, you print it out, you feel like a software engineer. It's really fun. I think there are about 50 practice exercises built in, so that really helps with cementing your skills as you go. Like I said before, really cool. But yeah, so if you've ever been interested in coding, but like you weren't really sure where to start, or like me, you've never touched it before and it felt very intimidating, I highly recommend Intro to Coding. You can begin in really just a few minutes. So to check it out, I'm putting the link in the chat, or if you're trying to get to it from our recording here, it's going to be in the YouTube description, or you can go to our website, which has an intro to coding page that will take you right to it. So yeah, intro to coding, highly recommend. Danny, what do you think about the new intro to coding course?
I think it's great. I mean, ultimately, we have our self-paced, which is a great complement to our Intro to Coding Live. Intro to Coding Live will be kicking off in October. We have a wonderful instructor, Roger, that leads that. It's very, very collaborative. So he's on there live speaking with potential students that are working through some different challenges and different questions. It's a great way to start your journey in software engineering without putting a ton of time commitment, without putting a ton of financial commitment in there. It's a great stepping stone into our programs and overall just letting you understand if this is the right path for you.
Absolutely. Speaking of our programs, we get a lot of people asking, since we have multiple programs, the full stack program and the AI cloud program, how do I pick a good program for me? Like, what's the difference between them and what area should I go towards?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's one that I've answered a lot with prospects that were trying to decide what is best for them. And I think a lot of that is going to be self-reflection on what you value in the workplace. When you're thinking of full stack software engineering, you are building out web applications that end customers are utilizing. So when you're working to build out that software, there is a level of creativity and ingenuity that's involved. Some of the biggest companies in the world are companies that are built on web apps. Think of Facebook, think of Google. Those are things that end customers are interacting with, going online and enjoying those services. Um, all of those services, though, need to function properly. There's a lot of orchestration that goes along with taking software and then sending it out into a distributed system and into the cloud where end users are going to be able to access it. So if you're somebody that prefers the creativity side of building something new and unique, or taking what is maybe an existing idea and pushing out new features or developing new aspects of an already existing platform, full stack development would be great. And if you're somebody that really likes the strategy and the organizational component of designing what is the system for people to access those services, DevOps and AI cloud and DevOps specifically might be the best path for you. So I sometimes give the analogy of like a restaurant. Everybody, for the most part, has been to a restaurant. Your head chef, your cook is the one that's preparing unique dishes for your guests. If you are the front of house manager, you're less focused with the creativity of the dishes, but you're more focused in how the guests are enjoying the services, how they're sitting down, is the speed of the service right? What's the ambiance? How is the menu laid out? So you're not actually creating the dishes, but you're part of the process of delivering the dishes. Both parts are very, very important with each other, and that's why we have those two as our programs.
Awesome. I think they're both really interesting programs. But a little diving just a little bit deeper, like what sort of like tools and technologies are taught in the programs?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So one of the most one of the widest spread technologies is going to be JavaScript. So that's really the backbone of our full stack program. React is a front end framework that is kind of a kit to help you build out websites. So we teach JavaScript on the back end in terms of a programming language, and then we teach React on the front end. There is a level of Python that we teach with full stack. Python is a great language to write automation scripts in, and it's also great for creating API endpoints. So an API is kind of like taking two systems and getting them to speak with one another. If you're on your phone and you look up the weather app and you're kind of wondering like, what are the weather conditions? Apple's not actually the one creating that weather diagnosis. What they're doing is creating an API endpoint to like the Weather Channel or another service, and they're streaming that information to their app. So, in summation, for full stack, you're going to be learning JavaScript on the back end, React on the front end, and then you're also going to be learning a little bit about Python so that you can create those API endpoints. For AI Cloud and DevOps, it is going to lean a lot more on the Python side, almost entirely on the Python side for writing automation scripts. So those automation scripts could be things like doing diagnostics on code that exists, making sure that the CI/CD pipeline is sending your code accurately, it's going where it needs to be, that the data is flowing where it needs to be. And then you're also going to be learning a lot about AI. So you're going to be working to build API endpoints to connect to LLMs. A lot of websites now have little chatbots where you can kind of ask it frequently asked questions like, hey, I'm having trouble accessing my order. Here's my order number. And the API will kind of use an LLM to then generate information and their own database to tell you where that order is. AWS is going to be heavily taught in this class. That's Amazon Web Services. That is the widest used cloud computing platform in the world. It's how Amazon actually makes almost all of its money from AWS. Their shopping site is good; they make money there, but the bulk of their revenue stream comes from AWS, and you'll get a lot of experience with those tools. You'll also learn some techniques within Docker and Kubernetes for containerization, which is really, really highly sought after skills. And then AWS SageMaker is AWS's AI tooling that you'll be able to utilize as well. So with AI Cloud and DevOps, we give you all the tools to sit the AWS AI practitioner exam. So you'll be able to take that exam and hopefully successfully receive your certification there. But yeah, just another quick summation, full stack, JavaScript, React, a little bit of Python, AI Cloud and DevOps, much more Python, AWS, and AWS SageMaker.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny. Another question we get a lot since we do have an in-person classroom in Chicago, but also offer our programs remotely is what are the differences like in those two ways of attending our programs?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, for one, if you're remote, you wouldn't be physically in Chicago. I mean, I guess you could physically be in Chicago and also learn remotely, but you wouldn't be in the classroom. Um, all of our classrooms are hosted in web sessions kind of like this. Me and Kayla aren't actually in the same classroom, but we're just telecommunicating. So coming in person, I think, is a great way to build that kind of camaraderie with your classmates. It's always also, I think, really valuable to just kind of get that energy in the classroom and have quick response of just, hey, I'm working on something, look at my screen, maybe we can hack away at it together. But the majority of our students are going to be remote, which allows for a lot more ease and accessibility for individuals, and also to just not having to deal with commute times, traffic. Life comes at you. We have our evenings and weekends class, which is exclusively remote. So they're just kind of a little bit different in terms of how you're interacting with the instructor, but everything's going to be hosted through Zoom classes. Everything's recorded, so we make it really easy for you to keep on top of things. If you're late to class, you could always rewatch the session. Maybe you're sick that day and you need to kind of, rewatch the entire thing. Just keep up with your assignments and keep up with all of the material there. Another kind of nuanced component is if you're using VA benefits, there is going to be a difference in terms of your basic allowance housing. So they have their own kind of formula for that. But if you are learning in person, you are eligible for that full amount of BAH, where if you're learning remotely, it's going to be the national average divided by two. So basically half of the national average is what your BAH would be. So there's a little bit of a financial difference there.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny. You brought up two other things in that answer that I just wanted to mention. The first being you mentioned that all of the classes are recorded to watch later. And I just wanted to bring up that you don't even have to be a student. If you're interested in seeing what a class is like, those are publicly available on our YouTube channel. It's part of our mission as a nonprofit advancing education. So they are there. You're welcome to go to our YouTube channel, Code Platoon, and take a look at some of those class sessions. Just get a little sneak peek at what the classes are like. That's true for both of the programs, Full Stack and AI Cloud. The second one is you mentioned the evening and weekend program. So there's an immersive full-time program, and then there's also evening and weekend options for those who can't make like a full-time commitment. That's totally okay. But what are some of the differences there and a good way to kind of pick between them?
Yeah, I think the best way to pick between them is really just kind of like what you are capable to commit to in terms of time. So obviously, full time is as it's described. It is almost like a full time job. You're going to be Monday through Friday learning from 8:30 to 5:30, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So basically, like a full day. And there is hour breaks there for lunch. You'll have some downtime as well, but again, 40 hours a week is the expectation and the commitment. Because you're putting in so much time throughout the week, though, it is a shorter duration of the cohort. So that's only 15 weeks in duration. If you have life commitments like, a job, family, for whatever reason, you're not able to make the 40 hours a week, we do offer our AI cloud and DevOps, as well as our full stack program in an evening and weekend capacity, which is 20 hours a week. And that's a little bit longer of a duration. Obviously, with 20 hours, you're spending less time on any given week in the classroom. And so that's 28 weeks in length. And the days I think are really flexible as well. So if you're doing evening and weekends, 20 hours that's split up amongst 3 weekdays. So traditionally it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday between 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time and 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're based out of Chicago, so everything's kind of anchored around CST. And then we do have a Saturday class that is kind of a double class. So it's going to be a morning session, which is at 8:30 up until about 12:30. You'll have an hour break for lunch, take care of things around the house, and then from 1:30 to 5:30. So Saturdays is a really kind of a longer session. Again, it's over the weekend though, so most people that are working like a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job can make that work. And yeah, I think that's a great way to stay immersed in the class. And we do a lot of pair programming on Saturdays. So I think to answer your question, it really depends on what you are able to commit in terms of a time, and also how long you want to spend in our curriculums. Obviously, 15 weeks will get you out in the job market and find your position faster than 28 weeks, but it might not be feasible with your other commitments.
Absolutely. All right. Final question, and perhaps the most important one of all. How will Code Platoon help me get a job after the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of people ask that. The job market is always going to be having ebbs and flows. I think one thing about technology, though, is it is so ever present. And so almost every company that you can think of is rooted within technology. It is the way that companies gain an advantage in the marketplace. So we have an entire department called Career Services that assists you in terms of resume building, building out your LinkedIn, connecting you with organizations that can do mock interviews, connecting with organizations to apply, basically kind of giving you all the tools that you need to get a job. Now, Code Platoon doesn't just give you a job. Just because you graduate doesn't mean that we say, here you go, now this is your position. So it does take a student's effort in order to go out there and interview for positions, but we give you all the tools to be successful to do so. And we also have a wonderful alumni network that is on our Slack channel. People are always posting about, positions that they have at their own companies. And I think it's just such a beautiful thing to have that network. So we assist you with career services. There is kind of an onus on the individual, though, to go out there and interview, but we can give you tips and help you along the way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danny. Actually, hold on. One more thing. Since we mentioned career services, what are some of those resources that career services helps with?
Yeah, like I mentioned, resume building, interviewing tips, connecting you with some of our affiliate hiring partners, which there are many, and also just giving you some kind of guidance. So if you're like, hey, I don't know where to find a job, like where do I apply, there's so many different job boards that we can connect you with that will help you stand out amongst the crowd. And me personally, I'm available to give people tips on how to interview, how to present yourself better. My history was in building out software development teams, so I spent the past 8 years of my career scaling organizations, and there's a lot of different nuances in there that are really helpful for people that are seeking a job to know when they're going out there and interviewing. So yeah, those are just a few. I'm sure that our team, um, Rich and Catherine, can give some more in depth there, but I definitely think the assistance of the network, resume, interviewing help, and connecting you with our affiliate partners is a great way to get you a position as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Those resources are so indispensable. All right. Well, that's all the time we have today for the questions and answers. So thank you for listening. And if you have any other questions down the road, how can we contact you with those, Danny?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this registers the chat function, but my first name is Danny, and it's at codeplatoon.org. So really easy to kind of just remember, I think. And feel free to send me an email. We also have info at codeplatoon.org. I have access to that email inbox, so I can always stay on top of it that way. And I'm pretty accessible via a Calendly link. So if you did want to chat over the phone with me, just shoot me over an email. I'll send you a link to my calendar. You can put time on my calendar. I'll give you a call and we can answer anything that you have.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for hosting, Kayla. Excited that we have some more prospects. We actually are coming kind of at the end of a cycle of applications that we've had. So in August, we had 3 application deadlines, which has kept us really busy, but we are really excited to start this cycle anew. And we have our next application deadline for our Corsair class, which is going to be November 30th for a class starting in February. So it's going to come up on us quickly, but we're really excited to start this new process and have a new crop of potential students to help.